Time for your fan weather forecast brought to you by Utke Heating and Cooling. 77 degrees, partly cloudy skies, rain in the forecast for tonight with a low of 62.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Fifer, served up by Wendy's on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan. Download the Wendy's app today.
It is time again. Welcome in as we broadcast live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here, Charlie Usen, Chicago Charlie, as we like to call him, other side of the glass. If you missed any of the shows today inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor Thomas and Josh Albrecht, or you missed 9 to noon with Kuhn, with John Kuhn, the former Packer fullback, Rami Makloff, Brandon Snide. Maybe you missed Mason Crosby's show with Mitch Thunder Nellis, brought to you by Verizon, and Tommy Wirtz joining that cast of characters. All of it available on your Odyssey app, AUDACY. Look for your favorite show podcast page. Look for it maybe on Fan On Demand. They do interviews you can find on whatever team one is broken up by. So like we have best Packers, best Brewers, best Bucks coverage. So if we have interviews from any of the shows, and you're like, dude, I'm more of a Packer fan than anything else. That's really what I want to hear. Perfect. You can just search right there in that one area. So make sure to check that out. And of course, you can check us out on YouTube right now, streaming live. All I got to do is search The Fan Milwaukee, be a part of the Dugout YouTube chat as well. We'll get back more to the Packers coming up here in the second segment, but I want to get to the Brewers. Hey, man, look, the Brewers won the NL Central, and I know it's a green and gold Monday, and we're supposed to do nothing but Packers normally. That's always been kind of the rule at the Fan. Focus on the Packers. Don't worry about everything else. But there are a couple of cool things that happened in that game last night or yesterday afternoon, one of which was this.
Tying run at second base. Donovan snagged by Koenig. You got a man in a rundown. Nobody's going to take the out at first. Monasterio's throw and out at third. The Brewers get two.
That was actually from this weekend. That wasn't from yesterday. But that was a cool play from over the weekend, a highlight of BA, FanDuel Sports Network, Wisconsin. So that was a pretty cool thing that happened over the weekend. You know, the other part about this is when we talk about this Brewers team and where we're at and winning the NL Central is when we think about what expectations were before the year for the Milwaukee Brewers and what was expected. Now, I didn't have them under 500. I had them somewhere around 85 wins. So, you know, a couple games over. I didn't think it was going to be, you know, that horrible one way or the other, like maybe the national publications did at the end of the day. But I still felt relatively good about being a Brewers fan heading into this thing. Okay. So when you win it and you're in control for, June or so, July, through the rest of the year, you have multiple 11-game winning streaks. You put together a free hamburger run along the way, which was pretty cool. And the trader managing the Cubs down south, again, can't win the division, even though he's making more money than any manager in Major League Baseball. It makes you feel good, as it should. So everybody is celebrating in the dugout last night, which is good. You have Pat Murphy before the celebration starts in the clubhouse because they were all sitting in the clubhouse. It was fully tarped, and they were watching to see what was going to happen in that Cub Reds game. The Cubs had a couple guys on, Pete Crow Armstrong up, and Tommy's like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. The Cubs are going to come back and win this thing the way the Packers lost it, and they're not going to get to celebrate tonight either. And then, fortunately, that's not what happened. So now they clinch. They still don't celebrate. Now dudes are walking around with bottles of beer, whatever they got, waiting for everybody to get in there to do it a way, to get all the cameras ready and all the media. So it's all scripted and looks nice on TV and all that stuff. Murphy makes a little speech.
No one said that the Milwaukee Brewers would be in the running to win the division. Not only did you win the division, you crushed it. All right? What do you say?
And then all hell breaks loose and everybody gets soaked. And I said yesterday, if I was Sophia Minard, I would wash all my makeup off prior to this starting. She had time. She had time to go do that. Like, just wash it all off. That way I don't got to have stuff dripping down my face or whatever else may be going on at that point. Because you know it's coming. Mark Attanasio, Brewers owner, was talking to the media yesterday as well. Check this out.
We have to take the next step. We keep knocking on the door here, and I think getting a bye is really helpful because we get just a little healthier and maybe get that, wild card, bad juju off our back. So anyway, we'll see starting October 4th, right?
He talks about taking the next step, getting the bad juju off of his back or whatever he called it there, not having to play in the wild card round. I will give him credit for even saying it out loud, because that normally is not what happens when he talks. So for saying, hey, we got to take the next step now, that's positive. We're moving in the right direction. So before we get back to the Packers in the next segment, I'm going to do one Brewer segment here. I have one question for y'all. Do you feel better about the playoffs this year more than you did going into it last year, as we sit right now? Because this is not a red-hot Brewers team getting ready to go in the playoffs with a week left. Now, maybe they play well against the Padres and the Reds and they get hot going into the playoffs, at which point then they're going to be halted immediately for the bye and they're going to have to wait. Whether the 1 seed or the 2 seed, they're still going to have to wait. So do you feel better about this Brewers team now getting ready for the playoffs than you did last year at this exact same time? That's what I'd like to know. Nikolay Lafan talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Facebook and Twitter at The Fan Milwaukee. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM 105.7 FM, The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Don't forget, I'll be at the Potawatomi Sportsbook coming up tonight, starting at 6 o'clock through halftime of the Monday night game. We'll be doing Packers trivia there in the Sportsbook. I got all kinds of cool giveaways, jerseys, autograph cards, fan merchandise. Potawatomi's got some cool stuff as well. Come hang out. That Potawatomi Sportsbook kitchen is amazing, man. 48 beers on tap, dozen different specialty cocktails, all kinds of great food items, homemade desserts and pastries. Come hang out, have dinner, watch the Monday night game, maybe make some money as well, and we'll talk Packers, Brewers, Bucks, whatever you want to talk. I'll be down there to do that, hanging out with you till halftime. So again, that's tonight, Potawatomi Sportsbook, starting at 6 o'clock. Charlie, do you feel better about the playoffs this year more than you did last year for this Brewers team?
I did before Brandon Woodruff went on the IL again.
That's irrelevant. It means nothing.
It's not irrelevant. It is not irrelevant.
It means absolutely nothing.
It's going into
Do not read into it. He is fine. He'll be fine. This is a way to save him of making another start or two in the last week. And now they're able to get some other guys some work here. I'm telling you, I am not worried about that. I am not concerned about that. If and when we get to the divisional round, if he is out, I will have egg on my face, and you could say, see, you should have reacted like I did, which I do to you all the time when I overreact. And you're like, oh, Sparky, you're overreacting. And then sometimes I'm right, and then you have egg on your face.
Sometimes you are, yes.
Right. So I think I'm going to be right here. I think Brandon Woodruff will be fine for the divisional round. That does not concern me right now.
I just feel like we've been concerned about the health of this rotation, the health of the bullpen for a lot of other guys leading up to this point. And I think, yes, this potentially could be just a way to give him rest leading up to the playoffs. But at the same time, it still looks like a bad omen to me. I feel like the past few years, the Brewers have had a key player get hurt right before the playoffs. And then that's something that ends up being the key factor to why they lose in that first round round of the playoffs every single year. Christian Yelich has been the case for the past 3 seasons. It feels like that he just hasn't been able to be a part of this team when it comes to the playoff time. And that's something that with Brandon Woodruff, yes, it could be a rest, but it could also feel like bad juju. If you want to take Mark A's words right out of his mouth, that feels like bad juju going into playoffs, on top of Jose Quintana being out, on top of a lot of these relievers just shuffling around, moving to the IL and coming back and moving to the IL. It just feels weird to me this year.
You know, the other part about this is I'm a big believer in if you have the momentum and if you're the hot team going into the postseason, it gives you a huge advantage carrying that in, right? So if the Brewers were rolling into the postseason on a 10-game winning streak with the Euchre magic and everything rolling with them, boy, you feel really good. You're like, man, this can be our year. When they won 14 in a row, I think a lot of people were like, hey, Euchre magic, we're going to ride this bad boy all the way out here and win this thing. Well, what happened was Euchre said, all right, that's enough for now. We're not going to waste all of it. We'll bring this back in the postseason. I'll throw some of this more at you at the postseason, but boys, we got to win a World Series here. I don't want to waste everything I got right here this early. We got to make sure we're good in the postseason. So what I'm hoping for is a little Euchre magic come postseason. The other thing that occurred this weekend, for the first time that I can recall, finally the discussion of Jacob Mizorowski, maybe he's better in the bullpen. Something we've been talking about for, I don't know, a month on this show. So not too surprising there if they decide to go that way with him in the bullpen. The other thing we've been waiting for at least 3 weeks on this show, when are they going to go get Robert Gasser and bring him up? They finally did. And you got to see him pitch, gave up a home run, fine. But now he's up and on the active roster. That's why I say, Charlie, the Brandon Woodruff stuff, if that means I get another start out of Gasser maybe, or I get to do something else with Mizorowski, or Mizorowski goes to the pen and I get to have somebody else come out or bring up somebody else. I just think this is just all logistics. They want to save him, make sure he's healthy, make sure he's fresh and ready to go, give him essentially like 2 weeks off before he's got to come out and pitch and make sure he's ready to rock and roll and go, 5-6 innings and be at peak form in that divisional round.
I would agree with you, I guess, if Brandon Woodruff hasn't had the injury history that he's had. And again, these are the type of things where if this was a Jacob Mizorowski who's only been up in the league so far this year, half of the season, and did spend time on the IL already too himself, but I wouldn't be as worried about him doing this to rest his arm. It's just that Brandon Woodruff before this season hadn't pitched for a year and a half. And then this is just another sign of that. And that is the bad omen I see, not the fact that he is on the list, but the history combined with them putting him on the list is why I think this could be bad news.
So the question is this: you feel better about the playoffs this year more than you did last year at the same point? I don't think I do. I'd like to tell you I do, but I don't think I'm there. And the crazy part about this is it's not about the offense. Like I thought going into this, I would be like, man, I don't know if they've got enough power. Man, I don't know if they'll be able to score enough. Like, I feel pretty good, pretty confident with where this Brewers offense is. I know they didn't score a lot yesterday. It happens. I think they're going to be okay offensively. I think where I'm a little bit more concerned is the bullpen and what that truly is going to look like here. Will McGill be able to pitch in the postseason? If Mizorowski's coming out of the pen, how effective will he be coming out of the pen? If Gasser is coming out of the pen, what is that going to look like coming out of the pen? He's been coming out of the pen in Nashville, and they called him up to start. So again, the yoing back and forth of starter to reliever to starter. That is I think my biggest concern right now is how good will this bullpen be? If the bullpen is top notch, they may make a run, win the whole damn thing. If that bullpen is lights out, they may win the whole thing, and we may get to have another championship parade. And I'll get to see the Brewers win a World Series before I die. Time's running out. We got to get this done. This has to get done relatively shortly. Now, the good news is farm system's loaded. So if you don't finish it now, you're going to have more great guys coming, and you're going to continue to give yourself chances, which is great. But I think I speak on behalf of all Brewers fans. We'd like to see you get out of a round and see what happens. If this ends up ending in the NLCS, and you're competitive, I think most Brewer fans would be like, all right, this is a pretty good season. Now let's take the next step next year. They get bounced in the divisional round, however, even though they didn't play in the wildcard round, people are going to say this phrase, same old Brewers. That's what people are going to say, Charlie.
Which you don't want to hear him say.
No.
This is the season of Euchre magic. Next year isn't anymore. Next year is going to be about something different. Next year you may have 1 to 2 less players that knew Bob Euchre on your roster. This season matters more to this current roster and the players that are on this team because most of them had met Bob Euchre and had a relationship with Bob Euchre. And that's huge. And that's about the story of this season. You got to keep going with that. And I think, yes, you do have a bright future ahead of you, but this season just means more to the guys that are on the field right now.
Yes, Charlie Hughes in Chicago. Charlie, other side of the glass. If you're tuning in and you're new to the show, you don't understand why we call this man Chicago Charlie. It's not like Rami Maklov, who you now hear 9 to noon with Kuhn, weekdays 9 to noon here on The Fan. Rami grew up in Illinois, so it is what it is. Nothing you can do about his affinity with the Bears and the Cubs and the Bulls and all that stuff. Nothing you can do there. This dude here played high school football at Brookfield Central. This dude grew up in Wisconsin, right? But unfortunately, his father grew up in Wrigleyville and brainwashed this poor child as a kid, and he's not been able to wash the slate clean. However, I will also get you updated on the likes of Charlie Usen, to which Charlie, throughout the course of this year, has started to jump on the Brewers bandwagon here and started to kind of root for him during games while we're here in the studio, which has been a pleasant surprise.
I've always been a Brewers fan. You've known this.
Very happy
You've
about
known
that.
this. Tommy always gives me the credit for it. Is I grew up going to the Brewers games. I grew up going to Bucks games. I'm still fans of those teams.
So you're fans of Brewers and Cubs, Bucks and Bulls, Packers and Bears?
No, not Packers and Bears. I never grew up going to Packers games. I grew up just loving the Chicago Bears.
So your dad was fine going to anything but a Packer game?
Well, I would say the price amount of tickets is a lot easier to go to Brewers and Bucks games than it is Packers
growing
games,
up, they were.
Especially with the Bucks. Yeah, they were not very good when I was growing up.
Right, you can get in for nothing. And there were times, man, at the Bradley Center, you could buy tickets for like 50 cents in the third market. $1 a ticket.
My favorite player growing up was Ersan Ilyasova. That should tell you about the era of Bucks basketball that I grew up watching. Yeah.
I got to tell you a quick story. So my girl, Kay, she's works in Oak Creek. And so they have Spirit Week, right? For the high schools, the schools, whatever the case may be. So today was wear something that goes along with the era you grew up in, right? So for us, it's like, you know, rolling the jeans at the bottom and all of that, right? 80s, 90s, that era. So she's like, I don't know what I'm going to wear. Yeah, flannel. There's kind of a grunge look back then, whatever else. So guess what I had hanging up in my closet?
What'd you have?
Purple Bucks jersey.
Yeah.
And I thought that the one that I had hanging up, and now I don't know if I lost it or what happened to it, I had a Sean Respert jersey. Sean Respert played at Michigan State, excellent shooter, and then battled cancer later, and it is what it is. So Respert never worked out, okay? But I love Sean Respert coming out of college at Michigan State. So that's the jersey I thought that she was going to wear. Yeah. That's not what she came down. She's like, oh my God, this thing is a dress. It's gigantic. I was like, I've never worn it. It's too big for me. Whatever. It wasn't the Sean Respert jersey. I don't remember who gave this to me or how I got it. I think it was maybe Larry Harris, the old Bucks GM. But I have an old school purple Bucks jersey, and on the back of it has the number 1, and it says Sparky in the place of the name on the back of the jersey. And awesome. She hates the nickname Sparky because she had a dog named Sparky growing up. She's like, I am not going to wear this. I was like, yeah, you are. That's awesome. Nobody else is going to come wearing a purple Bucks jersey, and nobody's coming wearing one that says Sparky on the back of it. So she's like, she's got super long hair. She's like, fine. So she wore it, long hair, couldn't tell whose it was or nothing like that. And she went, and I thought that was hilarious. I totally forgot I had the jersey.
That's awesome. You should wear it.
I'm telling you, it would come to my ankles.
That's okay.
It's big.
That was part of the look in like the 90s. Didn't some people have the super long jerseys like the basketball players?
Yes.
Like actually on the court, they would wear the super long ones.
Well, because the shorts came down to their ankles too. That was the Fab Five guys that did
I
that
think you could rock that look.
Yeah. No, it's too big, man. Charlie using over there. See Sparky Fifer coming up next. Talk more about the Packers. Talk more about Jordan Love, because there is clearly becoming a weakness with Jordan Love that we need to talk about. And I've got all kinds of sound. I got everything for you to make this baby pop. This next topic. Stay tuned. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy. Steve Sparky Fifer with you. Charlie using other side of the glass. How are we doing here on a Monday, a green and gold Monday? Yes, I know the Packers lost, but the Brewers did win their NL Central champs, the Badgers, 420. We'll get to that around 420, and we'll see how that conversation goes. I want to jump into this thing about Jordan Love here, though. So there's been a lot of people angry at Jordan Love. And if you sit here and if you were here in the studio, you could go back and look at all the text messages that came in this morning on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor Thomas and Josh Albrecht from 6 to 9. Ton of text messages. Then you can go back and look at the text messages that came in on 9 to noon with John Kuhn, Rami Makloff, Brandon Snide. More text messages. Come in and look at the Mason Crosby show with Mitch Thundernellis, presented to you by Verizon. More text messages. And now this show, we've been getting text messages. There are people angry, I tell you, about Jordan Love. Okay, fine. I can get down with that. As I said last night, and I will say again before we get into this topic, I firmly believe there are some of you that aren't going to like Jordan Love no matter what the man does. It's not going to matter. I told Tommy last night, when we were doing the post-game show, I said, Tommy, do me a favor. Write down the account information for everybody on Twitter going after Jordan Love, for everybody on the YouTube chat going after Jordan Love during the post-game show. I want all of it written down. And when Jordan Love plays well against Dallas or against Cincy or whatever, see how many of these people tweet out and praise Jordan Love for playing well and how many of them stay quiet. As I told Tommy last night, my father is one of these people. My father has not said a word about Jordan Love in 2 weeks. Do you know who I heard from last night on text?
Your father?
Oh, yes, I did.
Saying Malik Willis should start?
Oh, yeah.
I know he's a big Malik Willis guy.
I knew Jordan Love. I just was waiting for old Jordan Love to show up again. I knew he was a loser, blah, blah, blah. All mad. I didn't respond. Today, he wanted to talk. I was slammed at work on Zooms and everything else. I had no time. I was like, I'll call you back, and I will. Tonight or tomorrow, I'll call him back. But that is... I think there's a large part of that. Now, in fairness to him, he didn't like Brett Favre, could not stand Brett, wanted Brett gone immediately. So he's never really liked any Packer quarterback, in fairness to him. But there is something to the Jordan Love idea of throwing interceptions, making boneheaded mistakes when under pressure. And it has been an issue through the first 3 games for certain. Now, the interception that happened yesterday, Matt LaFleur took blame for, I guess, for Jordan Love.
Yeah, so they were playing man coverage, and the guy, Delpit, did a hell of a job. He passed off Tuck to the inside backer, and he fell off in the window. So, that's a bad play call. We shouldn't have called that play. That's on me.
This is the thing. I can respect the man for falling on the sword for his quarterback. Much respect. I get that. But your quarterback also, I think, has the ability to audible out of that call if he doesn't like it to get himself into another call, right? Am I wrong on this? Doesn't some of this come back to Jordan Love and be like, you could have audibled out of that. You didn't have to make that play call.
Aaron Rodgers did it his entire career in Green Bay.
Right. Now, again, I believe Matt LaFleur has given him the freedom to audible out of plays, from what I can tell. Now, that maybe wasn't the case year 1 as a starter, but it certainly is at this point. So I feel like some of that is on him where he could have audibled out of it for sure. Okay, fine. Now Jordan Love talks about the interception.
Triple slant concept, and they're in man coverage. And, I'm trying to work Wicks right there, number 2. And, the safety that was guarding Tucker, fell off that, passed it off, and got in the window right there, and I didn't even see him. So, it was a really tough play, especially in the, circumstances of the timing of the game right there. So, one we're just going to have to learn from, move on.
Learn on, move on from. I agree 1,000%. Looking at it, watching it on TV, rewinding, watching it again, it was brutal. Brutal. First of all, the idea of, he was throwing it to Wicks. That ball wasn't getting to Wicks. If that ball was going to Wicks, he undershot him by like 3 yards. Let's say Delpit's not there. The ball's not getting to him, Charlie. The ball would have hopped maybe twice before it got to him. It was a bad throw, regardless if Delpit was there or not. There was not going to be success on that play.
Well, but the biggest problem with that play wasn't that it was a bad throw no matter what. Like, Grant Delpit had to make a great play to make that interception. The problem was that even if it was a good throw, that was going to be an interception. And I think that is the problem that people have with Jordan Love in this situation right here, is that it was just a bad play call in my mind. First off, I think the Browns were set up ready for that style of play because Grant Delpit immediately left the man and jumped into zone to go and make a play on that ball. And again, it was going to be an interception no matter what, which tells me that the play call called for Jordan Love to throw that ball there no matter what. And that if he even saw Dontavian Wicks even remotely open, the ball was going to be let go. And that's on Matt LaFleur in that situation to help set up a Jordan Love to be better. But at the same time, this is year 3 of Jordan Love. I expected him. I said before this game in our Confident, Concerned, Curious that I wanted Jordan Love to take that next step. And in this game, I did not see Jordan Love take a next step. I saw Jordan Love be the same calm, cool, collected Jordan Love that there always is. But I think at some point here, that's going to become a problem if he's not getting more upset, getting more frustrated in moments like this.
I want to read you something Bill Barnwell on ESPN. A time about Jordan Love. Entirely fine without pressure, going 14 of 18 for 162. But was sacked 5 times, was pressured on nearly 39% of the plays of his dropbacks. That's a high number, y'all. He went 4 of 7 for 21 yards under duress. Okay. Now, this is the thing. When we talk about Jordan Love and how he's done this year under duress, it hasn't been the greatest. Now, as Paul Bridle said earlier on, the Packer beat writer for ESPN Lacrosse in the first hour, that's the case for a lot of guys. But at some point, you have to learn how to make plays. That's what separates maybe the average to the good to the great. The guys that know how to make it the best. LaFleur talks about how costly the pick was.
What's unfortunate is our defense was doing so well, and we knew we couldn't make a deadly mistake like that offensively to give them a short field, and that's exactly what happened.
That's exactly what happened. It was ill-timed. If that was in the first quarter, it's not as talked about. It's still a pick, but it's not as big of a deal. LaFleur then talked about what we just talked about, the fact that he was under duress the whole game.
Number one, I think early on they were getting to the quarterback. So like a lot of those longer developing routes, if you're going to play man coverage, you got to be able to protect a little bit better. And I think it felt like from my perspective that he was under duress for the majority of the game. And so we got to look at just some of the things that we're asking our guys to do in terms of protection scheme. We got to do it better. We got to come up with better stuff for our guys to put them in better positions to go out there and compete.
There's Matt LaFleur. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Live from the 1250 AM, 105.7 FM, the Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. I will put some blame on Matt LaFleur here, for being honest. Dude, at one point, you had 3 dudes on Myles Garrett. 3 dudes. You had Rasheed Walker, you had a tight end, and you had the running back all hitting him on the left side. What was happening? Guys are coming untouched up the middle on blitzes because there weren't enough guys to account for him because you got everybody over trying to stop him because nobody else could stop him on the line. And what else was happening? It was the Micah Parsons effect. Because you were stopping him, now you had Mason Graham coming free whenever he wanted to, the rookie, and he was having all kinds of success against the Packers. At some point, what should have happened, which didn't, what should have happened at some point was they should have said, okay, we're just going to play a lot of max protect right here. We're going to have 2 backs back there, a couple of tight ends, and we're going to run offense out of here to give Jordan Love some time. No, we're not going to go 4 wide because we can't go 4 wide, and we're going to play this a little bit differently. That should have been the adjustment made at halftime to change kind of what this offense was to account for the fact that their offensive line with, at that point, Belton was just coming back for the second half, but still, Belton and then Morgan having to move again, you had to scheme to make up for that difference. And it's okay to have an ego check and go, we suck on the offensive line right now. What are we going to do to make up for this? And I just don't think they really did it. They acted like they had their starting 5 out there.
But I think the inverse of that is you want to put 2 tight ends on the field all the time. You want to have 2 running backs out there all the time. but you already lost to Zach Tom in this game, and Tucker Kraft and Josh Jacobs are both playing in this game not 100% healthy. So you can't really afford to put those guys out there as much as you'd like to because they're just not healthy enough. And you can't really put Luke Musgrave out there for a 2 tight end set with Fitzpatrick. Musgrave isn't going to block the same way that Tucker Kraft is going to and give you the same kind of energy. I think having Chris Brooks and Emmanuel Wilson out there together doesn't give you the same kind of blocking threat that you get when you have a Josh Jacobs out there with one of those two guys. So yeah, you can go out there and do that, but then you're wasting, I guess, space on more mediocre talent in certain situations there, and you just can't afford to do that.
Nicolay Love Fan Talk and text line. Is Jordan Love's biggest weakness playing with the condensed pocket when there's pressure up in his face and so forth? As a fan, are you like, this could be bad, right? Is that his biggest weakness that he really has to work on? Last year, it was downfield throws. I think he's gotten significantly better at the downfield throws. I don't think that's really a thing right now. I think right now the thing is trying to make something happen when nothing is there and trying to extend things and getting himself sacked in bad situations or making. I don't think that was necessarily as much of a pressure throw as just a bad throw by Jordan Love in that situation. Is Jordan Love's biggest weakness playing with a condensed pocket? Nicolay Love Fan Talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250, Facebook and Twitter at The Fan Milwaukee. Sound off with a recorded voice message right there on your Odyssey app, AUDACY. Comment in YouTube as well. Search for us, The Fan Milwaukee, live streaming our shows here. Going off to the Nicolay Love Fan Talking text line, the 509 area code. Matt is always taking the blame for stuff. One of his flaws, I believe, Matt should place more accountability on the players. Then a second text message after that one. They don't even have a running back in the backfield. So the Browns defense knew it was a pass play too. That's what I mean. Like, when you realized you were that bad protecting, you had to compensate for that, not just with Myles Garrett, though. That's what happened. He overcompensated for one guy. I get it, right? If you're playing Reggie White and Tony Mandridge is out there, you better do something because he's getting tossed around like a rag doll every other play. Make an adjustment. Well, that's kind of what Myles Garrett was happening here. So you overcompensated for him, but then when anybody wanted to blitz or run a stunt or whatever, it was all done. Jordan Love had no chance in most of those situations. That's the thing that's frustrating to me. Trav and Brown Deer, you're next. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. What's up, Trav?
How's it going, guys? I'm not going to put this on Jordan. You know, it's just the Browns defense is really good.
Yes.
And Jordan Morgan, go right. And I was just talking. He's got to be more disciplined. Like I was watching the Eagles, right? Penalty after penalty, you know, he had 3 full starts, right? No.
Yeah, he jumped a lot. Rasheed Walker had penalties. They had penalties all over that offensive line. No question, Trav. Yes.
Yeah, they got to work on that line. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm with you, Trav. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Listen. He's only going to be able to get better if you play him. What I don't like is, with Jordan Morgan, is pick a spot. Can we just pick a spot? Because right now you have him as a swing offensive lineman, meaning outside of center, he's going to play wherever there's an injury to get him on the field. I don't think it's working. Maybe we should pick a spot. You're going to be a guard, and we're going to have somebody else as the swing tackle, or you're going to be the backup left tackle, and we're going to have others fill in the other spots behind him. This is the problem. When you have the youngest team in the National Football League, do you know what that means? That means your depth pieces are also the youngest in the National Football League. So you don't have a veteran of 8 years sitting on the bench waiting to come into play. So, for instance, let's reverse the situation. Let's say Rasheed Walker is on the bench. Jordan Morgan is the starting left tackle. Zach Tom goes down after one play. Rasheed Walker goes in at right tackle. Do I feel better about that? Yes. Yes, I do. If I had a veteran guard sitting there on the bench and I lose Banks and he's played guard for 8 years, do I feel better about that than putting Jordan Morgan at guard? Yes, I do. This is where being the youngest team bites you in the behind because your depth pieces are all first and second and third year guys who haven't had a lot of playing time at all. Last year, Morgan comes in, he gets hurt. And at that point, he was still only rotating at guard with Sean Ryan. And then, because if you lost all that time, you lose all that playing time last year. So he still hasn't played a full season of games. So now you come in here and you've got him all over the place. Like Paul Brattle said, he doesn't remember him playing at right tackle the entire training camp at any point. And you run him out there. Again, why did you sign Kennard from Philadelphia if we're not interested?
Just going to forget about him. They feel like they're running this offensive line rotation the same that they do with the wide receivers, where they just pick a different guy every week to step up and be in that spot, which I don't understand how you can expect a group to really gel that way. And then with Jordan Morgan, I mostly agree with you, except for the fact that this entire time since they've drafted him, we've been told about how versatile he is and why that's a good thing that he can play multiple spots and that the Packers should be able to put him anywhere, wherever they want. And I think this is the Packers testing that theory. Right now, based on what we saw from that preseason depth chart that they released, they didn't feel comfortable with him being the number one backup at any of those positions. So now they're trying to see, well, his biggest strength is that he is adaptable and that he can slide into these different spots. Guess what? He's not doing that either. I don't know. Every day I get less and less happy with this pick by the Green Bay Packers.
Yep, no question about it. Got another one here from the 262. Maybe it's time we bring back the fullback. Get a blocker to make up for a bad offensive line. To which I say, you're damn right. You're absolutely correct. And I'm pretty sure John Kuhn on 9 at noon would agree with me. This league eventually is going to bring back this fullback. There are a couple teams running with a fullback. The Packers flirted with it for a couple of years, and I mean flirted. Now it's Tucker Kraft back there, and that's kind of who he is. Give me a big bruising fullback that I can line up either in the pro set or in the I formation, give him short runs on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, whatever the case may be, knock somebody on their tail and in front of Josh Jacobs in the 4th quarter and open up that hole for a 20-yard run. I'm all about bringing the fullback back.
We brought a Packers legendary kicker into the fan Milwaukee, and the Packers went out and got a better kicker.
McManus, yeah.
We bring in a legendary Packers fullback to the fan Milwaukee. Maybe the Packers follow suit again, Sparky.
Maybe they'll actually get a fullback, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Hey, if you love Wendy's classic chocolate and vanilla frosty flavors, there's some big news. They're all new Frosty Swirls and now Frosty Fusions. Oh, yes. It's the same creamy treat you've always loved, now with the flavor refresh. So, what are these new flavors? Okay, well, we've got the Frosty Swirls. We know those, right? We got the strawberry, the brownie batter, and the caramel. Now, you can use any of the chocolate or vanilla Frosty bases to go with the said swirls. I always suggest you ask for extra swirl. They're not going to charge you, but you get the extra sauce that goes with it. Makes it way better. And now they have the Frosty Fusions, the Oreo brownie, caramel crunch that has pieces of toffee in it, and Pop-Tart strawberry. That's Charlie's favorite, the vanilla-based Frosty with that. So clock in for sweet treat time with Wendy's all new Frosty flavors. A refresh on a classic. It's got to be Wendy's. Take a quick time out, come back. A segment we do on this show, I feel like we have a lot of new listeners today, so I want to just kind of refresh everybody to what we do every day. At 3:40 every day for the most part, unless there's an interview booked here, and we can't book an interview anywhere else. Charlie Sounds of the Day is brought to you by Prize Picks. And what it is, it's 3 top sound clips that he has from around the world of sports. It could be college, pro, whatever the case may be, that he finds entertaining and wants to get my reaction to. So it could be from anywhere. Normally it's from some of the talk shows on TV and I react to. Could be a press conference from some random team, a coach saying something moronic, could be a crazy highlight that happened, whatever. That's how it works. That's coming up next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from 1250 AM, 105.7 FM, The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back. Wisconsin Sports Daily served up by Wendy C. Sparky, Fifer, Charlie using over there. Don't forget Monday Night Football tonight. Potawatomi Sportsbook, come hang out with me. I'll be there from 6 o'clock through the first half of the football game. Got jerseys, sign cards, Mason Crosby sign cards to be exact. Sign cards to give
Sparky sign cards?
No, he's coming for that.
That's so bogus.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got a super cool jersey, though, to give away. Sign cards to give away. All kinds of fan merchandise to give away if you want to get on board with that. A relief pitcher fan T-shirts to give away. Bucket hats. Pop sockets for your phones. Fan bags to give away as well. So come hang out with us. Plus, Potawatomi's got a bunch of stuff that they're going to throw in, too. So come hang out. We'll do Packers trivia from 6 o'clock till halftime of the Monday night game. And again, no, I'm not going to be talking while the game is going on, right? In commercial breaks, we'll talk. We'll do this. We'll have some fun. We'll get out before the game is back. And again, Potawatomi Sportsbook, man, unbelievable food. 48 different types of beer, dozen different specialty cocktails. So definitely want to come hang out with us for that. With that being said, I don't think we're going to have enough time to pull this off. We're not going to have enough time to pull this off. We're going to move this because this is what I decided to do. We'll move this to 4:20. So we have a new clock. So before, Charlie and I would just, oh, yeah, we're good. 3:51, just take it to 4:10. Don't worry about it. I can't do that anymore because we have to be out at certain times with all these additional.
Trying to get into practice here.
All these additional spots and everything else that they've added onto us with this new fancy lineup we have today. We can't do that anymore. So we'll move this to 4:20. And the Badgers topic that we were going to do today at 4:20 is going to have to wait till tomorrow. So we'll get into the Badgers more tomorrow with our topic. But for a couple of minutes here before the break, I usually think that sports bettors are smarter than us normal folk. Okay? I do. So like a lot of times when you see, casino or whatever make odds, you're like, oh man, like, what am I missing here? Clearly I'm missing something. And then the game happens and they're right. And you're like, hot damn, how did they know that? I knew last week there was no chance the Badgers were going to go walk all over Maryland in that game. I knew last week. Y'all listen to anybody on the station. Tommy Wirtz laughed at the spread. Mitch Thundernelis laughed at the spread. Mason Crosby. Everybody on this station last week was laughing at the Maryland spread. How in the world do they think the Badgers are going to get? None of us had seen Maryland this year, but we saw the Badgers. And then that game happens. Dude. Before the season, I said they may win 4 or 5 games. Maybe. Do you know who I want on this show tomorrow? I want Nick Osen on this show tomorrow.
Writing it down. I got it. I'll text him.
I want Nick Osen on this show tomorrow. And you're thinking to yourself, who, first of all, maybe is Nick Osen? Maybe you don't know who Nick Osen is and so forth. He's the real Nick Osen on Twitter, and he's a Badger beat reporter for 24/7. Great dude. But he is so sunshiny and rainbows on what the Badgers were going to be this year. And I'm just like, you're nuts. Like, he was talking like bowl game, maybe 7 wins. Like, I don't see how that's even remotely possible going to happen. Now, you can give the Badgers an out and say, hey, their starting quarterback got hurt again, Billy Edwards, just like every other year under Luke Fickell. Sure, you can. That's fine. You can give them the out, but that's only going to last so long. Before the season started, I said they're going to suck. And I said that next year will be the final year for Luke Fickell if they aren't in a bowl game and contending for a playoff spot. Next year. I didn't see any way possible that this dude was getting fired during the year. Then, you all happened. You all, at the game, started chanting fire Fickell at the game. That's new to me. I mean, that is new to me. And I cannot even imagine being Chris McIntosh and feeling what that's like. You're lucky they weren't chanting fire McIntosh. Maybe because the name's too long. I don't know. But you're lucky they weren't chanting to fire him too, because McIntosh is the reason they made the hire. I am not going to act like I was against the hire. I love the hire. I celebrated the hire. I was the one so excited every time they put out something on Twitter that they were about to announce some big recruit signing or some new portal signing, right? They were talking national championships. That's what Luke Fickell was talking, national championships. So I got egg on my face too. I was wrong on this whole thing with Luke Fickell. Clearly 1000% wrong. But I'm not quite sure with the new era of college football and how this looks, what really the ceiling even is with Wisconsin, regardless of who the head coach is. You know my guy, Greg Smith?
I do, yeah.
National recruiting coordinator for Rivals.
Yeah.
Been tight with Greg for a long time. He texted me. He's like, man, they don't even look that athletic on the field. Like, they don't even look like a Badger team. Most Badger teams are super athletic, and you can see it. He goes, they don't even look that way right now. That is a big problem that's going to need to be addressed, whether it's Luke Fickell or somebody else in that chair next season will have to be addressed. Coming up next, Green and Gold Update, we'll hear from Matt LaFleur, brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, straight ahead.